Tye, I'm looking at some of your music collabs. Music Soul Child, Jill Scott, The Roots, Jessica Simpson, Floetry, Common, Erykah Badu, Luther Vandross, Stevie Wonder. What were those experiences like for you?
I didn't do any of that. No, I'm just like, oh.
I'm like, I better hear you. Come on now.
You're like, what? Ah! We did a movie called The Prince of Egypt.
Okay.
That was an animated story about the life of Moses. We won this gospel choir competition. They said, let's get that choir on this movie soundtrack. So we started doing music for that soundtrack. There we met Faith Hill, Whitney Houston, all these people. So for the movie premieres, we were the only choir, so we would sing background for like all the artists, and some of them just took to us and loved us. So we went on tour with Faith Hill, Tim McGraw, we went on tour with Don Henley. Wow. We did stuff with Gloria Estefan, like all this stuff, all these. Once you got in the funnel, it just kind of like, let's get that choir, let's get the choir. And then I'm from the Philly, Jersey area, so we did our first album in the Root studio. I was very cool with them. I knew them all. We all knew each other. So just being around the Root studio, they'd be like, yo, get on this. LL's coming in town. Dude, you know, Justin Timberlake is coming. Dude, that's why we got Cry Me a River and all that stuff.
Yeah, I was about to get to that. Is it
you know I'm going to go there.
Behind the Justin Timberlake, the
yeah, I was doing
let's
now you're gonna prove, I got to prove it?
You got to prove it.
Get on them keys. I don't remember how to play that. What key is that? What key was that?
He said, what key is that?
They got me proving it. I ain't played that since then. Hey, Black Minor.
Oh, there it is. Hey.
Something like that. Something like that.
Yeah. Hey.
Oh, that was a hit song. I know they broke bread with you with that one, didn't it?
Yeah, we had dinner.
Oh, come on, Tye. Hold on, Tye. That was one of his biggest songs.
I didn't know the business then. I was working with Timberland, and Timberland's still my dude to this day. Yeah. So he cut me a check. I took that $2,000. I split it up between everybody. I didn't know points.
1, 2, 3, 4,
yeah.
5,
So go ahead, count it up. I came up with about $75. I didn't know the business then, and you know I'm not upset about any of that. It's all good. It's what it is.
Thank you, Tye.
Man, you're the man.
Appreciate you, man. You'll be back later before.
I look for it. Yep.
Thank you.
Can't wait.
Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it.
Can't wait.
Awesome.
Can't wait.
That was amazing.
Tye Tribbett, ladies and gentlemen. Tye's going to be on tour May 16th through June 13th, coming to a city near you. Don't walk, run. Check him out. He's unbelievable. All right, Kel.
Yeah.
Before you got started with Nickelodeon back in 1994?
Yeah.
94.
94.
So was that your first gig? I mean, you're from Chicago, the South Side?
Yeah.
Did you have a job before Nickelodeon?
Yeah, man, I definitely had a job. I did different things.
Okay.
You know what I mean? When I got on there, I was a junior in high school, like sophomore going over to junior, and yeah, man, I worked at my grandma's candy store. Okay. You know what I mean? She was an entrepreneur. She had the beauty salon.
Did you eat more than you sell?
Yeah. Yeah, I ate some of the supplies. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, man, but definitely there. Yeah, and I did some construction work with my uncle and stuff like that, but I was still, still a teen. Yeah, and that was like my first big gig. My first one, though, I was a model first.
Okay.
So I tell a lot of people that.
You did the modeling thing first.
Yeah, I was on the back of the Captain Crunch box. So that was like, I was on the back of Crunch Berries.
Right.
I had a little, high top fade holding Crunch Berries on the back of that, yeah.
Early on, you had something tragic happen in your life. Your best friend was murdered at a very young age.
Yeah.
What impact did that have on you, Kel?
Oh, man, a very big impact. You know what I mean? This was someone that I was very close to, went to my church, growing up. Shout out to my family. And I remember when it happened, I was on All That, actually. I was on All That at the time. And, he was murdered. He was shot in the head in the alley in Chicago. And around that time, it was like I was still doing the show. I was shooting the show. And I really didn't have time to grieve. Because you got to go right back on to being on the show. So that was a very hard time for me. But this was someone who actually saved my life as well. I remember it was a situation where something went down in a neighborhood. Some guys, did something on his side of the neighborhood. We were separated through a viaduct, the two neighborhoods, right? And they were looking for the guys on my side of town that did it. Just so happens that I was just, playing, in the school parking lot, and those guys happened to be there. I had no idea that they were doing that. They were coming to do a drive-by at that point. And when they were driving by, Sam was like, nah, you know what I mean? That kid go to my church, we ain't gonna do it. And he told me the next day while we were at Boy Scouts, you know what I mean? Literally told me, he was just like, man, don't hang with them no more. You know, this is what happened. This is the situation. We was, you know, we were homies. Right. You know what I mean? So yeah, it definitely had an impact.
How did the Nickelodeon gig come about? Did you audition for that? Were there people like, hey, we think you'd be great for this? How did this come about?
Oh, man. Well, you know, I was a bit of a class clown, you know, coming up. I enjoyed, you know, making people laugh. Right. You know, that was my thing within my family. All of us, we loved doing that. And I started out in theater. Okay. You know what I mean? So I started out in theater first, and it wasn't a thing of like getting on television or anything like that. That was never the thing. It was for my parents. It was having a positive outlet. You know what I mean? So think about it as they put me in everything because they didn't want me to go into the wrong crowd. So they were like, hey, try everything. And karate, you know, science camp, everything. And what stuck was literally this theater, ETA Creative Arts Foundation. Shout out to them in Chicago. They still going. Right. And I went there to this theater, and I was like, this is where I belong. You know what I mean? I did it as a summer thing. Right. And yeah, I started going on auditions. I went from ETA to Victory Gardens Theater out in Chicago, Goodman Theater. Started making my rounds in the theater game. And yeah, it went good, man.
When you auditioned, did you know you had got the role? Did you think you had knocked that out of the park?
No. so yeah, when I went to the audition, I remember I was at my high school, CVS. Shout out to CVS Cavaliers. Okay. And I remember I had a test that day. Okay. You know, I had my finals that day. And so usually I don't forget my monologue, but I remember when I went into the audition, I went blank. Because I just had finals on the break, you know what I mean? Right. And I went in there, and they were like, you want to go out in the hallway and practice it? I was like, cool. Knocked over some camera cords when I was walking out. I did it in a funny way, though. They started laughing. I'm thinking I ruined the whole audition, but they were cracking up the way I did it. Came back in, and they said, wait, before you do the monologue, I want you to just do some impersonations. So I did some impersonations. I did Ed in there. Yeah. You know what I mean? Ed was one of the characters that I did. I also did Coach Cretin in there. That was based on a coach at my high school. Did all the characters that you saw and all that. I did it in the room. Weeks went by. You know what I mean? I also killed the monologue. But weeks went by, and I'm thinking like, no, I didn't get it. And I remember it was a phone call late at night, and my mom was like, what now? Hey, thank you, Jesus. And we went to L.A., and when we went to L.A., it was like the Avengers of every funny kid that you could possibly think of from all over every city. Went up against it and definitely got in there. Yeah.
So you get all of that. So you froze the very first chance. Now you've got all these people watching around like, okay, this is my big moment. And you're like...
Yeah, man. Yeah, it was deep. Like I would say froze. I had finals on the brain, and my parents were big on education. Okay. You know what I mean? Yes. They were very big on that, and so I had finals, and we were like the last audition. I was the last audition in Chicago, and made it through. But I had been doing theater and everything, you know, prior to that for years.
So how did you learn to develop your character? Because you said they asked you to do impersonations and impressions of some of these characters that were in the script. Yeah. And just like on cue, because did you rehearse that? Did you think they might ask me to do this, so let me be prepared. And if they don't, I'm cool, but if they do, I'll be ready.
No, check it out. So it wasn't scripted. This was literally like, what impersonations do you have? Right. So most kids would probably do stuff that they seen on television. I did stuff that I saw on the L train, seeing people, my uncles, you know, I coached people that I knew. Okay. And I just gave them all original characters right there on the spot. Yeah. And that was the thing. They were like, yo, this kid came in and he did original voices, original characters, and they wrote literally to the characters that I did, you know, and that's how a lot of the characters that I had was so original and all that.
Want to join Club Shay Shay? Become an official member by hitting that subscribe button, where you never know who's going to be joining us for drinks and conversation. Don't be late to the party, because you know we like to do something before two something.